Welcome to the Mama Faye Mid-Level Management Series. I'm Mama Faye, and today we're going to talk about becoming a mid-level manager. In this lesson, you will be introduced to leadership and management, how to focus on your goals, self-development, staff development, and how to measure success. Now it's going to be about the focus. Your focus as a mid-level manager is going to be key to you being able to be successful. Gone are the days that you get to swipe in and then whatever happens that day happens. You kind of know what you're supposed to do, so you make sure you get those things done. You know your job, so you do your job well, and then you swipe out. But as a mid-level manager, you have to do a little bit more than that. You have to go beyond just what your assignment is and what you have to accomplish that particular day, because you have an overall goal that you must meet as well. So your focus is going to be in how am I going to achieve the results that the company, the business, the organization is trying to achieve. So in order to do that, I need to know what is the organization objectives, meaning what is their goal, their plan, what is it that we do, and what is it that we do well. And then also too, how do my department line up with the goals of the organization? What is it that we do within the organization to help move the organization? Because everybody that is in that particular year business or in that organization, hopefully they're not all doing the same thing. Every department has a function. So, what is my department's function in the overall scheme? And then how do I get results? What was it before I came? And then what is it that I want it to be while I'm here and when I'm gone? And then also too, as a manager, a lot of times when you're just a team member and you're just working, you most of the time you're relying on your manager or the director or the bosses, as we like to say, to tell you what the policies, the protocols, and all of that is. But now, as a manager, it's on you to know what they are. Because if you don't know what the policy is for a particular thing, what protocol should you follow in case there is a disaster, in case there is an emergency, when there is complaints or grievances. If you don't know what that is, you're liable to break one of the protocols or one of the policies, and then you may cause the company liability or you may cause yourself some liability. But you can be a rest assured, or you can be comfortable as a manager when you know the policies, when you do know the protocols, and also what are the industry standards for whatever it is. Because believe it or not, as a worker, you probably didn't know that there were industry standards. A lot of times you thought that that was just your boss telling you you need to do this and you need to do that. And they were just being mean and harsh and just being just team too much. It's not until you become a manager that you realize that there was a reason why they were telling you to do the things that they were telling you to do, because they were following policy, they were following protocols, and they were following industry standards. So when you want to become a mid-level manager, or you've been given that role, you must have a focus, and these are some of the things that you would like or should focus on. Self-development is another key thing to becoming a manager as well. You have to build new skill sets. Yes, it was great that you're really, really good at what you do. It's great that you know what you know, but there are always so many other things, so many different skills out there that you can learn, and that can really assist you, and you can be the best, so that when your staff or your team come to you, you have the skill sets to be able to assist them. It's nothing more frustrating to a team worker is for you to come to your boss and your boss don't know what you're talking about. That is so frustrating, and it's going to lead to people leaving. And if they don't leave, it leads to them having bad attitudes, because they feel like they're not being supported. And you have to be mentored and supported. So find a mentor, even though sometimes the mentor may not be within the organization that you're in. You can find mentors. Sometimes we have people that mentor us from afar. Like you may have people that you listen to their work, or just like you may be listening to this particular series, to get that mentoring, to help you to be able to know what to do, and to also give you that sense of, okay, am I going in the right direction? Is it more that I could be doing? And help you with that. So make sure that you are being mentored and that you are being supported and have a good support system. And that may not be from everybody. You only need one or two people that can be a mentor to you. And part of being a mid-level manager or becoming a mid-level manager is your ability to support fellow managers. There are other people that are on the same level that you are in that mid-level space, because there can be one set of mid-level managers, but sometimes there can be multiple layers of mid-level manager depending on how big the organization that you are in. And so if that is the case, you and them has to be support for each other. Sometimes there's a great place where you get to vent, you get to bounce ideas off. You can find out what was the best practices for them, and what are your best practices that are helping you, that you found things that were successful for you as well, so you can share that with them and they can share that with you. And you would also need to be able to have good communication with them, because a lot of times you will find that people on your level can assist you, and you want to make sure that you have really good uh, open door policy with each other, so that even when you're away, they will support and they will help, make sure that your department is running the way that it needs to run. But if you don't have any communication, you stayed in your little silo and you don't communicate, and you might not be with everybody. It doesn't have to be every manager on that level. It can be one or two, but make sure that you have some type of communication level with some of the mid-level managers, and when they're out, you support them and make sure that their departments are running well, and then when you're out, they'll do the same thing for you. So make sure that you always keep that line of communication open with those that are within the mid-level management range. Now, sometimes you can have some mentors, and that would be great if you do find a mentor from upper management that will mentor you. But that may not necessarily always be the case, because sometimes they're busy. Sometimes you may not have access to them like you may need. So coming in as a new manager, always find other people on that level. Like I said, everybody's not going to want to, so don't feel bad when you meet some resistance, but you can find other people that are on that same level, even if it's one or two, and you all uh, uh, join together and help support and help communicate among yourselves to provide that support. Developing your team is going to be another part of your job and what you do, and a part of your role as a mid-level manager. And in developing that team, in most cases, if it's not a new business or a new organization, even if it's a already you've became a manager in an organization that is already started, you're going to need to know how to interview and how to hire new team members. So learning how to interview, because there is definitely a technique to being able to interview and to bring on new staff. You don't beat yourself up if you may pick a few bad apples. Sometimes people can be really good at being an interviewee. So, but there still is a technique to becoming a good interviewer, and to learn how to hire people, because you have to have a some type of measurement that you use to be able to measure whether this person is going to be a good fit for your team. So hiring is definitely going to be one of the parts of what you do as a mid-level manager. And then you have to train. You have to train your team and constantly retrain, because some people love to make up training in the beginning, and then what happens is they just assume, okay, they know what to do, and there's no more training after that. And what happens is, over time, the team can become very stagnant, not able to produce, because they haven't been learning, they haven't been mentored, they haven't been coached. So training is a big part of you being a good mid-level manager. And to be successful, there has to be a way to coach those that work under you and those that work with you as a team, and mentoring them as well. And then you have to be a good motivator, because you got to motivate your staff. They have to be encouraged. And so a lot of times that will come through coaching and mentoring and spending time with your staff. A lot of times you can get busy and bogged down with the first focus, which is your objectives, your reports, your protocols, the policies, and all of those things, and trying to make sure that all of that is running well. But a key part to your first role, which is the objectives and meeting your goals, is making sure that your team is well developed, and that development is maintained. And then you need to provide them with the support, because a part of that is, in in these cases, especially in the times that we live in, people need to be and feel supported. So if you're going to be successful, you're only as successful as your team is, and they are the ones that are going to make you successful. So you got to provide them with the necessary support that they need in order for them to do what they do to deliver the goods. Developing your team, a key part of that is making sure that the people that are on your team is knows what it is required of them, and that they're actually doing it. Because if you as a manager just only want to do all of the nice parts and the niceties, but there are conflicts in the team, there are low morale, there's people who are not being productive, if you have people on the team who are being destructive and being causing confusion and not doing what it is that they need to do, at you as a mid-level manager and as a manager in this particular role are going to have to be able to do disciplinary actions and know how to follow those different protocols. And so when there is disciplinary action, it is key that you do know what the policy is for the organization. You would need to know the protocol, the process, and you also would need to get that guidance from your human resource department. If it's your business, you would need to want to know the laws for your particular state as it pertains to different rights, so that you know that you don't have any legalities coming back at you, legal problems coming your way. So you want to make sure that you learn that as a manager, because there will come a time when you may have to provide disciplinary action. And if you do, that's not always just firing someone. Sometimes you have to put them on some type of plan, or what they, most people use the term write up. I got written up. And so a part of that is that that's only is so that the whatever is the behavior would change. And so in order to know whether the behavior has changed, or if the person has now decided to become more productive, or if it was just something they were going through, then now you would need to make sure that you have some type of follow-up to make sure that make sure that they have indeed made the necessary changes in order to be productive. And as a mid-level manager, you have to be able to understand that there are going to be people who are going to leave and they're going to resign, and how to be able to effectively allow staff that no longer is going to be working for you. Because what can happen too is, if you don't know how to accept resignations and how to send people out the door, then a lot of times what happens is some of that great staff that may leave may decide that they might want to come back. But if you don't know how to receive a resignation, then you can prevent good staff from coming back. Sometimes people have situations where they may need to leave. They may be moving to another state, another city, and then they may eventually return back to that state or that city, and they were a really great employee or a great team worker, and they was great to on the team. And so now, because you know how to do an effective resignation, to receive resignations, now you can receive that great employee back. And then, of course, sometimes that is relieving someone of their duties. That is a part of being a manager, and knowing when it is time for someone to go. Even though they may not have put in their resignation, there are times when their people have to go because they are affecting your productivity. There are sometimes affecting other people in the department, and they're being disruptive, sometimes disrespectful to you as a manager, and so therefore they will need to be relieved of their duties. Part of being a great manager or a mid-level manager, part of your role is going to be quality, what we call quality, and receiving, collecting, and analyzing data. And all data is that is maybe numbers that show you, like, when things are improving, when things are not improving, or when things stayed the same. That's all it means. And so what you do is usually there are different types of reports that you can create in order to know. Some organizations you may step into and they already have a report that shows that particular um, area of, that you want to measure. It's just measuring where are we, where are we going, where have we been, and where are we going. Is it getting better? Is it staying the same? Or is it getting worse? And as a manager, you have to always be constantly looking out for that. And so you you need to be reviewing those reports that you may already have, and then sometimes you have to create your own reports so that you can see for yourself where you are and where you need to go. And it's because of those reports and because of the data, remember the numbers that you're collecting, you have to sometimes create and update the systems that you have. Out of that will become new protocols and new policies, because sometimes you realize that based on that information that what you're doing is not working. It may have worked in the past, but for whatever reason, it is not working now. And so we have to figure out how we're going to go into a new direction. Because of the data that you have been receiving, reviewing, and you were maintaining, now you have to find a way to communicate through what we call in services. That mean trainings or some style of communication. This is what we call staff meetings, team meetings, team building meetings. A lot of this comes out of the data or the quality or the reports that you've been reviewing. And so that has to now be communicated to staff. Any new policy, any new protocols, things that are going on, both it can be the negative things, but also you want to communicate when they're doing well, because many times teams and people under you could be doing a great job, and they could be really uh, getting the reports and getting the results that you are wanting, but you so excited about, okay, well, they're doing good, I don't need to go and communicate with them, they know what they need to do, I don't want to bother them. But sometimes that's the best time to bother them, to let them know that, hey, you did great, we're doing well. I appreciate everything that you all are doing, because I know that you all are working hard. Or if it's you went through maybe some difficult season or difficult thing, you can also let them know that, hey, we went through this little difficult time, and I appreciate you all staying with us and doing your best. And I know some of you may have had to do overtime, but I'm grateful and I'm thankful. And so now, as a result, we was able to maintain, or we was able to do whatever it was that you were trying to accomplish as a department and as a company. And a part of a great big part of your job as a or your role as a mid-level manager is going to be communicating to your upper level manager. This sometimes is in the form of providing a report. Many times you have to go to upper level management meetings, and you're going to have to be able to communicate how your department is doing and how your department is progressing and what's going on in your department. So you would need to make sure that, remember that data that you was collecting, and remember the quality controls that you were doing. All of that needs to now be able to be put into some type of report so that you can report to the upper management your successes. And then if there are some failures, you need to know why, and then what are you doing and what have you done to correct those failures. A mid-level manager, you will be responsible for measuring individual success. That is of each one of your team members. You have to do that through evaluations. So one of the things that you will be responsible for doing is making sure that all throughout the period, usually most people is yearly, some people have quarterly, that you have a process in which you must evaluate each one of your team members, and in that evaluation needs to be their accomplishments. Also, it needs to be where they are, and it's also where individually where they want to see themselves and where they want to go. So that's going to be a part of your measuring of their success individually. And then, of course, there's going to be the organizational level success. So it all ties in together. And then there's going to be measuring your own success and where you are, and that's through your evaluation because you get evaluated as well. They may have a different measurement for you than what you would be used to, but you are going to be measured as well. So you must also look at where are you on as far as your role and what is expected of you, and make sure that you do that quarterly, at least quarterly. Really would say to do it monthly, so that by the time that you come upon your own evaluation by your manager or by the person that's going to be evaluating you, that you have a great evaluation as well, and that yours come out to be outstanding as well, because now you have achieved the results. Becoming a mid-level manager is a great opportunity. It is a big accomplishment. You don't have to be afraid or to go into it blindly and be afraid to take that next step. There are so many tools out there and so many ways that you can be a great mid-level manager and do it successfully without being burnt out, without being overwhelmed, without even having to quit. So let's go and become that great mid-level manager that you are meant to be. To learn more about the leadership series and others, check out the YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook at MOMAFEY_HT and go to MOMAFEYHometraining.com. Well, this is Mama Faye saying, don't do nothing today that you will regret tomorrow. Are you ready for this?